Hello, this is Rob Scholl, the Nazarene, and today I want to look into what is Yahuwah looking for? Is he looking for progress or is he looking for perfection? Recently I was talking with a younger brother via private message, and he was expressing to me that he was waging battle in his own life with himself. And he said to me, and I quote, and I'll just read it here, I didn't think things could go wrong, and now I just feel lukewarm. I do bad things. Yahuwah is still there in my mind, but I have a guilty conscience because I want to do good, yet I don't know how to overcome what I'm doing because I don't even want to be doing the things I'm doing. It's just working out like that, end quote. So the brother was feeling defeated. Sound familiar? Well, it should. We've all probably said that exact same thing or something similar to that in our own personal lives. In fact, what he said to me was almost identical to what the Apostle Shaul said in Romans 7:15, as he demonstrated that even the most knowledgeable in the law among us, the most mature among us, still battle with that same war with the flesh, and it lasts a lifetime. Let's read what Shaul said in Romans 7:15. He said, I do not understand what I'm doing, for I'm not doing what I want to do, but what I hate to do. And if I do what I do not want to do, I agree that the law is good, and that's because it points out his sin so he can grow from it. I realize then, Shaul says, that it's no longer my new nature that is doing it, but my sinful nature that I have yet to defeat. For I know then that there is nothing inherently good in me, that is, in my sinful nature. We all have that thorn in the flesh. And in my book, The Kingdom, I recommend everybody read that, I explain what the purpose of this life is. This life is not the point. This life is training for the next life, which is the point. So, in this life, we are perfected by trials and tribulations, by falling short and being restored, by being tested and failing that test, and then being tested again on the same thing until we pass that test and we grow. And that is a process, and that process is called sanctification, and that is where perfection is found. It is the progress, not perfection. So Yahuwah, like I said, he's not looking for perfection in this life, but progress as we're being disciplined as his sons. The growth within you, and I want everybody to hear this, because this is the point of the Yahushua covenant and this life. It is the growth within you that is more important than the goal in front of you. In other words, the law might be the goal, but it's only training in righteousness. It's not righteousness in itself. Righteousness is found in our intent, and that's developed as we progress. We have the intentions to do right, but we don't, as Shaul said. So let's just look at this. The law is actually the foundation of our training in righteousness. 2 Timothy 3:16, again Shaul talking, says, all scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. It's not righteousness itself. It's just the goal that we set. And then in the process of trying to attain that goal, we grow and we're trained to perfection. Our intent is trained, and that's where righteousness is found. So it's growth, not perfection, that pleases Yahuwah as we progress in our training. That is why Shaul said the law is good, after explaining that he breaks it constantly, because the law may be the goal or the destination, but it's the journey that matters, where we learn in the process, and that's what leads to perfection and righteousness. So we're to focus more on our discipline and learn from these mistakes and progress. That is what pleases our Father, and that is the point of this life. Let me scroll down here so I can continue to act like I'm not reading what I'm really reading. Let's read what Shaul said in Hebrews 12, verses 5 through 7. He says, and have you forgotten the Father's exhortation as he addresses you as sons? He said, my son, do not take lightly the discipline of Yahuwah, and do not lose heart when he rebukes you. For Yahuwah disciplines the ones he loves, and he chastises everyone he receives as a son. So endure suffering as discipline. Yahuwah is training you as sons. For what son is not disciplined by his father? Those who live perfect little lives, i.e., Christians, they're not his children. These people are not perfect. They only put on a perfect front to make you think they are. These type of hypocrites are everywhere. What does Shaul say about those who live perfect lives? Are they somehow holier than me, or more holy than me? Are they more righteous than you? Well, let's read and see. He says in Hebrews 12:8, and this is right after he just got through saying that we should submit to discipline, because that means we're sons, in Hebrews 12:5-7, which I just read. He continues in verse 8, if you do not experience discipline like everyone else, then you are illegitimate children and not true sons. So much for living a perfect little life. If that's how you portray yourself, then you're just simply saying, hey, I'm not a son or a daughter. Furthermore, Shaul says, we all have earthly fathers who disciplined us, and we respect them. Should we not much more submit to our spiritual father and live? So actually, it is the one who is struggling in their walk the most, that they are in what I call the kiln of Yahuwah, being fired to a fine finish. A kiln is the oven that clay's put in when it's fired to a fine finish and becomes pottery and plates and stuff like that, or weapons. But anyway, those are the ones that are being trained the most, not the ones living these perfect little lives. They're not even children. Anyway, so what does Shaul mean when he says submit to the Father, the spiritual Father, and live? Well, you see, life is found in this process called sanctification. Welcome to the family. Yahuwah never promised you a rose garden. I hate to break it to you. He just promised it would ultimately be worth it if we can endure this life of training and trials and tribulations. We see this, Yahushua say this in Matthew 24:12-13. He said, because of the multitude of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold toward Yahuwah, he's talking about, and they will no longer submit to his discipline. Verse 13, but the one who loves the Father and endures his discipline to the end will be saved. See, it's the one who are disciplined, who love Yahuwah enough to give up their life and at least attempt, to go through this training process. So that rose garden, that's the promise of the enemy. This life is your reward, the enemy tells you, because you'll get you're not going to be in the next life. So take this life for all you can get out of it. Don't submit to anything. Don't apologize for nothing. Everything is good. If it feels good, do it. Whatever. So anyway, the next life is our reward, and we must be trained to serve Yahuwah in his kingdom. We must be trained to serve Yahushua in his coming kingdom. This life is that training program. We're all being trained in a very personal way to face our specific weaknesses and to overcome them. Think of becoming a soldier in the military. Just like the military, you're only a recruit until you pass this very difficult program called boot camp, and ultimately at the end pass the obstacle course, complete the obstacle course. You are not a soldier until you complete that course, not before, and there's no way around it. You have to go through it, and you have to pass it. Now, you can get multiple opportunities, though. It's not a one-shot deal. Like Shaul says, he keeps falling short, then he has to be trained back to where he needs to be, and then move forward and progress and face another trial and another test. It's the same thing here. So be encouraged, Nazarenes. We're all only recruits, and we're battling through this life called boot camp, hoping to someday become a son and be resurrected and adopted. So you'll never, what I want to impress on everybody is we'll never get there, but we were never supposed to. It's the process, the sanctification process that Yahuwah is looking for that develops within us a righteous mindset. It's not that we keep the law perfect, because I guarantee you that ain't happening. But like I said, you were never supposed to be perfect. That's why Yahushua came. He came to bridge that gap, no matter how large it is. Our goal is just to make progress. Every day, try to make that gap a little smaller for Yahushua, will you? Because that's all we can do, and that's all Yahuwah expects. He expects us to make progress. Sometimes it's baby steps. Sometimes it's leaps and bounds. But every day, make progress. And remember, It is the growth within you that is more important than the goal in front of you. The law is not righteousness. It's only training in righteousness. Hallelujah. This is Rob Shaw, the Nazarene. I'll talk to you later.